No, it's a good preventative measure. I'd like to raise for your group's consideration the reaction of this report that's going to be within the CIA by, say, mid-level officers who next week are told, go out and find members of ISIS and try to stop a terrorist attack by groups today. If they look at this and say, well, I'm being told to do this and it's okay now, but what happens in 5 or 8 years when it's another political group running the place? The officers who did waterboarding were told by the White House and told by the Attorney General of the time, this is perfectly legal and okay to do. Today they're being portrayed as torturers, evil, nasty people. This is certainly going to be in the back of mind of current officers when they're told to go do something now. How do I know that politics isn't going to throw me under the train in the future?
If I may respectfully disagree with this, I don't think every order a CIA officer might receive is equal to the next. Torture is one of the things most unequivocally condemned by international instruments, any number of them, by American law, by the American Constitution. Being told that this is legal, I believe any officer worth their weight would at least ask the question. And actually, we know that the White House did ask the question.
Jean Arthur Coyle.
I'm sorry, but you weren't there.
Absolutely. I won't contest
told,
that. That's true. I wasn't.
CIA officers
No,
were
but
told...
I have to point out, that in the report, it says that the CIA went to great lengths because they knew that this constituted torture to go back and circumvent the thoroughly established laws on torture. And we're not just talking about international law, we're talking about U.S. law prohibiting torture. This is not some obscure prohibition. Anyone who is told that torture is okay should be questioning those orders. I do agree, however, with the point that CIA officials should not be the only ones tarred and feathered for this. This goes all the way to the top of the White House. And those officials who are named in the report, including Dick Cheney, including David Addington, including Michael Hayden, should all bear responsibility for it.
Jean Arthur Coyle?
I'm sorry. The people at the CIA at the time were not told that it was torture, did not consider it torture. When the White House, when the president, may I finish, please? When the White House, when the Attorney General says this is a perfectly legal measure to do, then it is not torture. Just because President Obama called it torture, you can't change the law after the fact.
Well, I'm sorry, you can't change history either, and waterboarding has always been considered torture, particularly by the United States. We have singled out other countries who have waterboarded prisoners. So, and if you actually look at the historical record, it's not that the CIA was told that waterboarding was suddenly legal and was suddenly not torture. And I don't just want to limit it to waterboarding because they used a lot of techniques that amounted to torture, that we all knew amounted to torture because we, the United States, have told other countries for years that they amount to torture. It was not the CIA being given permission to use these techniques. It was the CIA using the techniques and then going back and asking, in retrospect, the DOJ to cover them. That's what the historical record shows.
You don't know what you're talking about.
I'm sorry, but I've reviewed the record.